Charles Thielman, my friend. Charles was raised in Charleston, South Carolina, and Chicago, educated at red brick colleges and on Chicago's streets. Charles Farrell Thielman has worked as a youth counselor, truck driver, city bus driver, and enthused bookstore clerk. Having learned much via his travels, joys, and travails, Charles now calls Eugene, Oregon, home. Grandfather, poet, and artist, president of the Lane Literary Guild, Charles is also an active shareholder in an independent activist bookstore. His chapbook of 30 poems, Into the Owl Dreamed Night, by Uttered Chaos Press, 2011, has been enjoyed by many. Published in several journals, just Google his name and you will be amazed. There are some wonderful links to Charles' work on our Burning Down the Barnes website, so be sure to check them out and support his work. No further ado, Charles Thielman.
Yeah, this works. Okay, well, thanks for coming. Good to see you all, and on such a beautiful day. Charles Castle was ad-libbing about that. You'll be amazed. But let me know if you are. So I go with Charles Farrell Thielman. Farrell is my mother's maiden name, so you didn't have hyphens back then. So this past week, as I'm sure all of us have been reading and feeling, given the UN report on the climate and the lack of response from our alleged government, and all of us appear to have grandchildren, or not all of us, but I have grandchildren. And I worry about them. So this first poem has to do with people gathering at a downtown square, in Pioneer Square in Portland, perhaps, or down in the park blocks. And it's called Community Swelter. The heat drags its knuckles over blacktop, brick, arms, faces, jackboots the street as humid mist drifts from the heart of our bricked square out to the curb where coffee shop workers are delivering ice water and ice to the hot and angry street urchins. Scooping a cube onto his neck, he's trying to triage his malaise with iced coffee, relief dissolving his street mask for a moment. Hot spring night, draping damp linens over city intaglio, blue glyphs of exhaust above intersections, verve and pock nerve hinged on the dark geometries of power lines. No seats inside, he fingers another cube up an arm, beveling the edge honed all day at work, unloading boxcars to load trucks. Square denizens promenade in sweat. A cop on horseback beside a sidewalk tree regulates the pulse as a corner sax player lets fly with a freighted wail. Notes like orchids spun down canyons, drawing stragglers who are shared swelter. Here's another one in the same vein. I think it's interesting in a sense that we're shipping coal to China and they're burning it and the pollution is coming over this way. And I, of course, would support anyone who'd want to stop a coal train. On a bone-dry slope, that is a train transporting coal. This one is titled On a Bone-Dry Slope. Those who listen for the sound of ash say fire is an animal that grows by drinking the sap of wood and bone, and speaks in guttural continuo, gold on yellow waves, scored over black char. Embers taken by wind scribe the intent to crown every need for rebirth with a given fact of darkness. That exile pulled back overnight through borders the moon traces. Guarding hope in white light dilutes the magical. Coyote not heard singing the code to unlock all gates and drop flints up moonlit paths. Our debris stacked on a bone-dry slope. So I wake up before dawn often, most every day, and write. It's my favorite time to write, whether I'm out by a gazebo or in my garden, and or in my bedroom. So this is about that. Titled Dark Blue, and that's basically as the sky is turning dark blue to blue. First, jazz anthem threading stems. I wake to write before dawn, dark window to blank wall. My spirit bound by cedar incense strands and long tendons of wind-blown fog. Illusions ladled into my eyes below another jet contrail sky. Perhaps spring-wrapped yellow on the eastern horizon will thread soul glow through sandstone. Votive flame through glass, dew beads on a crow's wings as time washes chalk lines off asphalt. My transit across thin crust is a mural of ashes and seeds, rose stems and blooms. I peer inside receding dark blue. Raven feathers on an antlered skull, one dream stride from road gravel. My life on a flatbed truck, gathering starlight. Thank you.
Charles, would you make some water?
So I'm working on a manuscript of, and it has a lot of work poems in it, and this particular one is about working in a ad agency as a temporary worker. I wound up about 8 months there, and just arranging copy and doing some proofreading. So this is about this. That driving home after work, he tunes in jazz radio, suit and tie loosened, car braked at a railroad crossing, in transit from a job, marketing illusions over screens for a receptive audience in this brave new world. His car idles as boxcar after boxcar clacks and squeals past red flashing gates. The radio man ladles jazz sax over fatigue, and the cubicles of his day shift soon dissolve along the will soon dissolve along the balconies of her voice as they dance across their cedar floor, heading home from work. And this is a new poem that I'm in a critique group, and by the way, the Lane Literary Guild, as many of you know, hosts and supports, sponsors many poetry and prose critique groups. So this one is titled Pulling Light Through Stone, and that's kind of a metaphor for me for what it is to write and how difficult it can be sometimes, and sometimes you have an agate, and what you pull from that agate is quite beautiful. A little bit harder than pulling it from gravel. So this is titled Pulling Light Through Stone. Memories shaping presence. He collects insights as a boy, placing a hand over a flashlight, senses the strong pulse of his heart. Standing on the beach, watching salt spray ride the cold chisels of gust chipping at a bluff, his gaze switched backs up to the brown fur caught on a snapped branch. Having panned for gold with jaded hands, he now walks the shoreline, searching for agates amid broken shells. Sky cried open by seagulls. Wind gusts, grazing wave crests, buoy lights opal through salt spray. He imagines a manta ray below fire coral, its mouth grazing the plumes rising from a deep trench. So I back when I was 17, 18, and 20, 19, I belonged to, in Chicago, I belonged to a scuba diving club called the Narcosis Knights. Of course, us young ones changed that name just a little bit, Narcotic Knights. But we went down into the Caribbean several times, in Cozumel, Aruba, and so I'm working on some poems around that. This one is not one of those, but stay tuned. So this is about my favorite jazz bar, Jazz to Opus in Portland. It's now closed, but after work I would often go there. After getting off driving bus, I drove for TriMet for several years. And after getting off work, I'd go downtown and listen to some jazz, the Jazz to Opus. It's titled Hand of All Colors. The rust iron wing of a train horn pinballs down glass and steel canyons. Headlights sweep our shadows past a mural of a circle of hands touching hands of all colors. The hope of public art not altering realities. Sirens, hear the sirens thorn over nearby avenues. Their dark boas of city streets, hours from releasing Blue Dawn. And this jazz joint is in full hop and bop. The opening door releasing a river of sax notes plying drum and piano rhythms as the current rivulets over iron mesh caught rocks. Outside, hot mist catches street light yellow en route to swirl above drain grates. My veins here filling with inks and colors for page and canvas. I shoulder inside a jazz solo, the guitarist picking through what aches after my work week of driving bus. How are we doing on time?
Good.
Good. Okay, how about a book one? So, this one is just simply titled August. Dawn, dawn soon carved by the shadows left by loss in each layer of real, and what we bring into each room, windows painted shut, voices stymied by glass. On the street, the world starts in 15 minutes. Strap on your watch, or right into this quiet as your lover rolls out of sleep, her thighs catching light. Dream-waxed eyes deep, she watches you as a doe, standing in long grasses and sun, watches an August streambed and sees wind grazing wave crest, clouds rooted in undertow. This is meant to be a poem, but as it evolved through a couple of drafts, I realized it's also about love of art, and specifically poetry. Waking in April. Wave crests like the faces of sleeping poets light my soul. Dreams, warm shirt unbuttoned and coaxed off my shoulders below pre-dawn bird songs. Her scent rivers inside my tongue and floods my chest. Thank you. Now I'll read another love poem. It's titled Together. The moon drapes a lace sari over those sleeping back to back, dreams tunneling inside birdsong. First wren at treetop. They wake and turn, palm of foot stroking back of calf. Together. 2 minutes? Okay. 2 minutos. Okay. In that case, I have the toughest paper clips. No. Okay. Solitaire dawn. Let's ask you to imagine raindrops as children. The children of 4 days of rain, having left the arms of spruce, pool above roots and listen as the black-haired goats of evening slip inside loam. Their first crow call, a beacon void of promise for those who play solitaire well. The Queen of Hearts, oh so heavy with an imprint left by a mask, waits to see which cards are dealt. Then we find a home for the sad one-eyed Jack, as fog trails mist onto sliding glass door, gray brush over the mural of one life. And I'll read,
Keep, yeah. 2 more?
2 more?
2
Okay.
more?
Soon we'll be experiencing lluvia, rain, though this could last for another month. I got my fingers crossed. But this imagines the rain as La Senora. The title of the poem is La Lluvia. A great name for rain, lluvia. in Spanish, of course. The opaline notes of a clarinet missed the river and distant green hills as the long-haired sheep of evening circled to sleep near the roots of trees. Avenues emptied of midnight transits, neon etchings below cloud-spun ribbons. A blue-gray sweep of rain rides the ivory keys milked by her touch. La Senora leans over her slow chords, blue-gray shawl brushing her wrists. She sings her children awake, round eyes and jade ovals rising from dream. I'll end there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Charles.